Welcome back to Blue Collar Sports, everyone. Thank you for staying with us through that break. We are down here in beautiful Boise, Idaho right now. It is nice out. Looking outside, finally, it's kind of been raining a whole lot.
Yes.
But we are down here in the Pulse Radio Studio at Boise State University. You are listening to Blue Collar Sports, our 110th show ever. First show of April this year, though. It is Thursday, April 4th. If you've missed any of our segments, we've covered March Madness in the first two. They will be on our Twitter through our Periscope. Trevor, if you want to let them know how they could get to that.
Absolutely. Follow us on Twitter at BlueCollarSR, and you can be watching us on Periscope, which I hope you are right now, seeing both of us. But we're on Periscope as well, Blue Collar Sports. YouTube, we got a bunch of our past segments on there, Blue Collar Sports, and Instagram, Blue Collar Sports is on there as well. We're trying to reach to you any way we can, and just contact us any way you want, and we'll respond, and we'll get you on the show or whatever you want for any ideas. So reach out to us on any social media, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, we got our own March Madness bracket going on right now. We're going to cover that later on, but I've had lots of people reach out to us about that.
Oh, yes, it's good.
Always fun. Love debating that. But right now, baseball is back. Week 1 is over, and my oh my, has this been my favorite start to the season ever, and we're going to get to that here in a second. But the MLB back, and we've talked about it on the show how the MLB offseason was a little bit weirder this year. Guys kind of held out, kind of had more of an NBA, NFL kind of feel to the offseason. We saw a lot of late switches. We saw Machado. He hit his first home run as a Padre at Petco Park last night. Bryce Harper, we'll get to here in a little bit. We're seeing him playing in a Phillies jersey. So there's still a lot of the same faces. Boston, the defending champions, basically returned their same exact team. A lot of familiar faces in the same place, but still also a lot of shakeup. But it's been an entertaining Week 1.
Yeah, the offseason we talked about, big stars that kind of moved on to new teams, but then there's other stars like some pitchers that still don't even have a home.
Dallas Keuchel still is not signed.
This offseason was a little weird. It's a little different, but now that we have already had 1 week down in baseball this season, I think it's been fantastic for MLB right now. I think we see the stars playing right now, either at their old teams or new teams, and we're seeing a fresh start. I think it's really getting energy again, the buzz around baseball, and I think everyone's moving on from the offseason. They're looking forward to this season. It's been a fantastic start so far. Yeah. Some great games have already gone on and occurred, so I'm really excited to see the season play out, and we're seeing some good stuff, and I think MLB should be happy about this beginning start for the season.
We're going to play a little bit of buy or sell now with the MLB start. Again, there's 162 games in the MLB season. We know that it's early, but I mean, we're here to talk about sports, so why not overreact to everything that we can?
Oh, yes.
Or underreact to everything that we can, and that's what we're going to do right now. Buy or sell. So we're going to go through some teams through their starts through week number 1. Again, we're about 6, 7, 8 games into the season, depending on the team. But we will start with the best team in baseball. The Seattle Mariners are sitting at top at 7-1 right now. Their one loss was also a game they should have won. They blew it in the 9th. Went into it with a lead. But the Mariners have started 7-1, outscored opponents by 17 runs. Offense is surging. Bullpen's still been an issue, but their offense looks good. This is this team, they traded everyone from last year. Gene Segura, he's in Philly, which we'll get to here in a second. Robinson Cano's in New York. We'll also talk about them a little bit. Edwin Diaz went with Robinson Cano to New York. James Paxton went to New York. This was supposed to be a rebuilding year. I know it's early, 7-1. Are you buying this Mariners start?
I know you're buying this Mariners start because you are super excited. You picked him to win the World Series every single year. So I bet you're super excited, super stoked that they're off to a great start. And they are. They're one of the hottest teams right now in baseball. But I'm going to have to sell this team once we get down to.
I'll buy them.
Once we get down to the crucial time of games in September and obviously October. They're off to a great start right now. They're having a great start, great hot team right now. But can they last? I don't know. They're still young, like you said. They traded away all their players. It's a different culture right now. So I'm not really sold on that. But they've been playing well. They beat up the Boston Red Sox in their opening series. That was fantastic to see. So if they're able to play like that, obviously they're going to be a great team, and they have a chance to get to the playoffs. I think they could win their division possibly, or even get a wild card. So I think that'll be great for them, obviously, to get to the playoffs. But I'm going to have to sell them as for right now. I know it's super early, so it's still a long ways to go. But if they're able to contain this and last this run for going into the summer, I think then we're going to start looking at this team a little differently, and I think they definitely could buy them a little bit later on. But if I'm buying stock in the Mariners right now, I'm going to have to sell on them, as haven't had any experiences before to trust them in the first spot.
I am 100% buying the Seattle Mariners team. I'm buying my World Series tickets right after we are done with today's show.
Yeah.
This team ended as I'm. Every year I get too excited. Mariners started really good last year. They were winning the division by the All-Star break, got fourth in the division. So this has happened before. I always say I'm not going to get my hopes up. I don't have any expectations. Here I am now expecting them to go to the World Series. But when I watch this team, their bullpen's still shaky, which is really scary. They've always had a bad bullpen, and this year it looks probably even worse than it has in the past. Their bullpen's been scary. But this team, I watched an interview with Marco Gonzalez, their ace, who's already 3-0. On the season, but Marco was saying this team is built around guys that need to prove themselves. Half of them are younger guys that don't have a very big league contract yet, that are trying to make it in the league. The other half, guys like Tim Beckman, who has already hit 3 home runs, played incredible baseball, is a guy that has had opportunities. He's been cut twice. He was traded. He used to be a top 3 prospect. He's been cut twice. He was dealt. Omar Narvaez was the top overall catcher in his class, got cut 3 times. Now he's in Seattle. So these guys that have another opportunity, and I think it'd be really cool to see them pull it together. I'm buying it, but I could completely understand why people are selling that. But moving on to the next team, let's talk about the team they played in the Open Series. Do you buy or sell this Red Sox slow start? They are 2-5 right now. Lost 3 out of 4 to Seattle, and then lost their last series 2 out of 3 to Oakland. Are you buying or selling their slow start?
They're in a tough situation, though. I do believe they're still kind of over the World Series hangover. They're still a great team. They got all their great players still. So I would buy into the Boston Red Sox right now. They still have that culture. They still have that squad that are still there together. So I'm not going to overreact from a slow start. They could still turn it around, and I believe have one of the best records in baseball this season. So I think it's kind of like the Warriors. They kind of maybe have a slow start in the beginning of their regular season because they're just still getting over the playoffs. I think they want to ease their way into the regular season, and I think the Red Sox will be able to do that because they're so talented, pitching and fielding and hitting. So they're very well balanced, well coached, obviously. So I think the Red Sox will be just fine. I'm not worried at all, and I would buy in the Red Sox right now.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the Red Sox either. I think this team's definitely going to turn around. But going to the other side of that, buying or selling the Yankees struggles. They're sitting at 2-4 right now. They are currently in action too, down 4-1 to the Orioles, in danger of also falling to 2-5 on this season. But I am gonna sell the Yankees this year.
Really?
I really don't. I originally have them. I know we're overreacting. It's 7 games into the season, but we talk about sports. That's what we're here to do. Overreact to situations. But the Yankees, I had them making the playoffs, but I was not very big on this team entering the year because they really talked about it. That I think they rely too much on the home run ball, and I think their pitching isn't as good as people think it is.
Okay.
And I think they could still make the playoffs. I mean, I think they have a great shot. Baseball playoffs are tough to make, though. Obviously, you get 2 wildcard spots. They're in a division with the Boston Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays, who I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. And the AL West is deep this year. So I think it's going to be tough. I think they could still get in, but I don't see them as a championship contender. I'm going to sell the Yankees.
Yeah, Yankees are in another tough spot here. I know I was pretty high on them last year. They kind of proven to me that they are a little bit more about the long ball, that they are really not well-rounded as some of these other teams were. So I'm a little worried about the Yankees, I would say as well. I'm not ready to sell them just yet. I still would buy them to at least make the playoffs as of right now. I still think they can figure out and get there. But the Yankees, they're a team built with a lot of personality, and it's the Yankees, of course. So I think if things don't go right, this team could absolutely explode. Things could go very south and not well, and I think they could definitely have a disappointing year and miss out on the playoffs altogether and then absolutely sell the stock on them. So I think that could be a direction they are headed, but it's too early to say that will for sure happen. So I still would have the Yankees as a team I'm looking forward to seeing in October. So the Yankees, I still would be selling or buying on them right now.
Another team in that similar situation, the Houston Astros, have also started 2-5 this season. Houston's in the middle for me. I'm not worried about Boston at all. New York, I'm worried about. Houston, I think, is right in between.
Okay.
The only thing is, bring back Dallas.
I know.
They don't have pitch right now. Their pitcher's been getting shelled in these first couple games. Justin Verlander, they gave an extension. Verlander's a great pitcher, but he's probably old, upper 30s by now. He's been in the league for a long time. He's throwing a lot of pitches. So I don't understand why they're not bringing back Dallas. Their pitching worries me, but I'm not too worried about it. I still think they will win the they'll get the wild card. The Mariners going to win the AL West. But not too worried about it. But do buy or sell the Astros?
I still buy the Astros. They were my initial World Series choice because I like their roster. I think it's very well. But they need improved pitching, like you said. They need to figure that out because they can't just rely on Justin Verlander right now, who is definitely older. And I was a little shook about that contract extension. And then they need to get Dallas back, like you said. And once they're able to figure out their pitching, I think this team will figure it out, get their way through the summer and then the later months of the season. And I think this Astros team is still one of the most well-balanced teams, and I think they're going to be just fine going into the playoffs. So I'm not ready to stop on the Astros, but they do need to figure it out, or else it could be a similar situation like the Yankees where everything can explode and they're going to have a terrible rest of the year. But I think they are mature enough where that won't happen and they can figure it out.
Moving to the National League now, before we buy or sell these teams, Bryce Harper already made his return back to D.C.
Yeah.
Got booed tremendously, struck out in his first at-bat against former teammate Max Scherzer. Fans went crazy. After that, though, proceeded to go 3 for 4. Hit a bomb, have I think it was 3 or 4 RBIs, and really get that crowd going. I think he was loving every second of it. What were your thoughts on his return home?
Yeah, it was definitely pretty cool. I think it was good for the Nationals to boo him. He left that team.
He turned down big money from that team.
He must have felt pretty bad to strike out in that first at-bat, but then he came back and showed him with a big home run ball, a pretty nice bat flip. That was pretty cool to see too. But that's Bryce Harper.
So much rotation on a bat flip. That had rotation on it.
He's probably been practicing it all off season because he knew he was going to go back there and hit a bomb. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's been a good start for Bryce Harper in the Phillies beginning. It's good to see him in a Phillies uniform. I think he's loving. Their initial series was in Philadelphia. The fans were all cheering for him, so I think he is happy with his decision being a Philly now.
We'll stay right there. Phillies, like you said, they started 4-0, lost their first game last night by 1 run. They're 4-1, only played 5 games, but do you buy or sell the Phillies as National League favorites?
I do buy the Phillies right now. I know they are a team with Bryce Harper is a big personality, but they got some great pieces around them. Experienced guys like Andrew McCutchen, Gene Segura has been around the league, and then they got very nice young guys who've been through the downs of the Phillies years and are back now with a great Phillies team. And I think they're going to figure out their pitching. That's the one worry I have is their pitching, but I think they could figure that out. And I think the Phillies could be one of the better teams in the MLB right now, and I think they could get to the playoffs, but could absolutely get to the World Series. I think the Phillies are one of the better teams in the league right now, and I would buy on the Phillies right now.
The Mets, a different New York team. The Mets, they started 5-1. They actually just lost. They're now 5-2, but they've started red hot. Jacob deGrom, in his first outing, has 10 strikeouts, goes 6 innings, shutout ball against the win. Last night pitched again, 14 strikeouts, also hit a home run. Is he the best pitcher in baseball?
He might be right now. He's been absolutely fantastic. Great year last year, and another great start to this season. He could be the early favorite for Cy Young, of course. So I think he definitely is up there, and that's why I like the Mets right now. I would buy the Mets if I could. Their hitting and fielding is the only downside to them, but their pitching is fantastic. DeGrom, Syndergaard. Yeah. That's why I'm not worried on them. If you have great pitching, you can have a great season and have a great postseason. So the Mets are a team that I would really look forward at. I would look for because they have that pitching that could carry them into the playoffs. And I think that's why the Mets are playing well right now and are well built. We just got to see if it can last.
I am actually going to sell the Mets and sell their star. I'm still salty about Edwin Diaz leaving. Robbie Cano, we were fine to get rid of him. But Edwin Diaz, Alan Hurts. But this pitching is legit, obviously, with Syndergaard, Jacob deGrom, and now Edwin Diaz, maybe the best closer in baseball, closing out for him. But their hitting really concerns me. I think they're going to be a slight edge above better than last year, but it was the same problem last year. Jacob deGrom won the Cy Young last year. I believe he was 8-9 on the season. And it's just because they don't get run support. And I think as the year goes on, that's when you really start to see the big guys come out. And I think New York's going to fall a little bit. I'm going to sell the Mets start.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think they're one of those middle teams that can kind of sneak in as a wild card or also be one of the average teams in the league at 500.
Last one before we head off to break as we are wrapping up hour number 1 down here at Blue Collar Sports. The Milwaukee Brewers, they have started 6-1. They're 1 game away from the World Series last year. Buying or sell the Milwaukee Brewers as the best team in the National League?
I do think they are one of the best teams. I buy this team that they can make it all the way, but I'm going to sell that they're the best team in the National League. I still have my doubts about them for some reason, but they've been playing fantastic. They got very well balanced, great pitching, great hitting, of course, and I think they could go just as far as any of these teams. But for some reason, I just don't see them going all the way, just like they were so close last year.
I picked them to make it this year. I picked Brewers, Mariners, and through a week, it's looking good, but it's definitely still early. But I am buying the Brewers. Christian Yelich, I think right now might be the best player in baseball.
Wow.
He's been incredible. Homered in all 4 of his first. He homered in his first 4 games. I know it's early. We're a week through the MLB season. Those are the teams we are buying and selling right now. Mariners will win the World Series. Mark my words on it this year. This is a special
1 week
team.
in.
But we are 1 week in, and we are also right at 3 o'clock, which means we are going to head off to break. But you are listening to Blue Collar Sports. Stay tuned. This is our 110th show ever. We got a whole nother hour with you guys coming up.